Good morning, students. Today we are going to discuss about the formation of image by concave lens. In previous class we discussed that the formation of image by convex lens. Now we are going to discuss about the formation of image by which lens? Concave lens. In case of convex lens, as the object distance decreases, image distance increases. See here. It is which type of lens? It is a convex lens. Now let us draw the principal axis, optical center. It is optical center. So it is a first principal focus and it is a second principal focus. Here these two foci are equidistant from the optical center. Then next it is a 2F. It is also 2F. Okay. So now OF and O2F. O2F is the two times of OF. Here also O2F is the two times of OF. Now let us take when the object is at infinity now, where its image is formed at focus. Image is formed at focus. When object is brought from infinity to beyond 2F, then where its image is formed according to ray diagram. Already we drawn ray diagrams. Where its image will be formed? Its image will be formed between F and 2F. When the object is brought at 2F, then where its image is formed? Its image is formed at 2F. Then when the object is brought in between 2F and F, then where its image is formed? Beyond 2F. Beyond 2F. When the object is brought at F, then where its image is formed? Its image is formed at infinity. And when the object is brought in between F and O, means principal focus and optical center, where its image is formed? Image is formed beyond the object. Okay. So already we studied some cases now. Here in each case what happened here? As the object distance decreases here, image distance increases here. So it is in case of convex lens. What about in case of concave lens? Let us study about that one. Now, and also observe that what happened here, as the object is moving from infinity to the in between F and O, the size of the image goes on increasing. Means height of the image goes on increasing. But here, in case of concave lens, there are two possibilities. What are those possibilities? When the object is at infinity and when the object in between infinity and optical center of the concave lens. We are going to consider only two possibilities in case of concave lens. First one, when an object is at infinity. Now let us consider which lens we are going to consider now. We are going to consider concave lens. Already you know that what you mean by concave lens. Concave lens is that it is a lens which is thin at the middle and thicker at the edges. Edges are thick here, but middle is thin here. It is called concave lens. Now let us draw the principal axis, and it is optical center of the lens, that is represented by O. When the object is at infinity now, where is the object? Object is at infinity. The rays coming from the object which is at infinity are parallel to the principal axis. They are parallel to the principal axis. And here, whenever these light rays fall on the concave lens, the light undergo refraction, but here the refracted rays are divergent. These two are the refracted rays. This refracted ray appears to be diverged from a point at the side of the object. Then here also this refracted ray appears to be came from a point. That point is called principal focus. Then from which point the rays appears to be divergent. At that point image of the object is formed. This is I know. Where the image of the object is formed? At the focus. When the object is at infinity. Now let us explain the features of the image formed here. First one, position of the image. position of the image. Where the image is formed? Image is formed at F. Image is formed at F. And next, what is the nature of the image? This image couldn't obtain on the screen, so this image is called virtual image, and it is erect. It is erect. What is the nature of the image here? The nature of the image is virtual and erect. Virtual and erect. So erect means here, if object is upside, then its image is also upside. Next, what is the size of the image? Size of the image is highly diminished, because the object size is very large, but image size is very small. That is why the image is said to be highly diminished. Highly diminished. Okay, this is about first one. What about first one now? When an object is at infinity, the rays coming from that object are parallel to the principal axis. For example, I will take object as a sun. The rays near to the surface of the earth, those rays are parallel to each other. Then these rays are parallel to the principal axis. After refraction, the refracted rays appears to be diverged from a point. From which point the rays appears to be diverged? At that point, image of the object is formed. But this image couldn't obtain on the screen. That is why it is called virtual, and it is erect. Why it is erect here? If object is upside, then its image also upside. Okay, that is why it is virtual and erect. Then what about size of the image here? Size of the image is very small compared to the size of the object. Let us assume this is the size of the object and it is the size of the image. So compared to the size of the object, size of the image is very small. That is why the size of the image is said to be highly diminished. It is a first case. What is second case now? Second case, when the object anywhere between, is anywhere between infinity and optical center of the lens. Then we are going to find out what is the position of the image, what is the nature of the image, and what is the size of the image. Now let us draw the ray diagram for this one. Again, it is a concave lens which is thin at the middle and thicker at the edges. Then it is a concave lens. Now let us see this the optical center. That optical center is denoted by O. And it is denoted by O. Now let us draw the principal axis. What is principal axis here? It is the line passing through the centers of curvature of the two curved surfaces and optical center of the lens. And this principal axis is perpendicular to the lens. It is a lens now, and this principal axis is perpendicular to the lens. Then, where is the object now? Object is anywhere between infinity and optical center. I will place object here. I will place the object here, and it is principal focus of the lens. Which lens? Concave lens. Concave lens having the virtual focus. Then, first ray is parallel to the principal axis. After refraction, the refracted ray is diverged, and this diverged ray appears to be came from a point. That point is called principal focus. Then next, one more incident ray that is passing through the optical center, that passes without any deviation. Okay, we consider how many rays here? 2 rays. For the formation of image by concave lens or convex lens, we are going to consider at least how many rays here? 2 rays. Then where these two refracted rays will be meet, so at that point where the image of the object is formed? Image of the object is formed in between optical center and principal focus of the lens. And what is the nature of the image here? Nature of the image is virtual and it is erect. Because object is upside, then image also upside, then it is said to be erect. If the image is erect, then it is a virtual because this image couldn't obtain on the screen. Next one, position of the image. Position of the image. So where the image is formed? Image is formed in between O and F. O means here optical center of the lens. F means here principal focus of the lens. It is the first principal focus of the lens. Next, what is the nature of the image? Nature of the image is virtual and erect. And what about size here? Compared to the size of the object means compared to the height of the object, height of the image is small, not very small, it is a small. That is why it is simply called diminution. What is the size of the image here? Size of the image is diminution. So these two cases are possibilities in case of concave lens. When the object is at infinity and when the object is anywhere between infinity and optical center of the lens. So when the object anywhere between the infinity and the optical center of the lens, where its image will be formed? Always its image will be formed in between F and O. So what happened here? So here, as the object distance decreases, image distance also decreases. So whenever the object is at infinity now, object distance is infinity now. But whenever the object is anywhere between the infinity and optical center, then where its image is formed? Between F and O means image distance decreased. As the object distance decreased, image distance also decreased. It is in case of which lens? It is in case of concave. Now we are going to discuss about thin lens formula. Before that, we have to know what do you mean by thin lens. It is a lens whose thickness is very small, that is called thin lens. Then already we know that what is mirror formula. Mirror formula is equal to 1 by F is equal to 1 by V plus 1 by U. But what about lens formula? Let us derive that one. Okay. So lens formula is that it is the relation between object distance, image distance and focal length of the lens. Object distance is that it is the distance of the object from the optical center of the lens. And image distance is that it is the distance of the image from the optical center of the lens. And what is focal length here? Focal length is that it is the distance between optical center and principal focus of the lens. Now let us derive the relation between them: object distance, image distance and focal length of the lens. Thin lens formula. Actually, this is not for our syllabus. But by using this thin lens formula, we are going to derive lens maker's formula. That is why we are going to discuss about thin lens formula. And also it is called relation between U means object distance, V and F means focal length of the lens. We have to derive the relation between U, V and F. How to derive the relation between U, V and F? Now let us consider the thin convex lens whose thickness is small, and here two plano-convex lenses are joined together to form the biconvex lens. Biconvex lens having the how many curved surfaces? Two curved surfaces. But here two plano-convex lenses are joined together to form the biconvex lens. And it is optical center that is represented by O. The line passing through the optical center and centers of curvature of two curved surfaces is called principal axis. It is called principal axis. and this principal axis is perpendicular to the lens. This principal axis perpendicular to the lens. Now let us consider it is a first principal focus. Then OF and O2F. We are going to take O2F. It is at 2F now. So let us take, if the object is at 2F, where its image will be formed? Its image will be formed at 2F only, because already we discussed that in case of the formation of image by which lens? Convex lens. Now this is an object which is placed at the 2F. So where its image will be formed? Its image will be formed at 2F again. So first incident ray is parallel to the principal axis. I will take it is the point M. This is point M. After refraction, the refracted ray passes through the second principal focus. It is a second principal focus. Then one more incident ray that is passing through the optic center, that passes without any deviation. Because here the extended incident ray and emergent ray both are overlapped. Then emergent ray means emergent ray and extended incident ray both are overlapped, means the ray passes without any deviation. That point inside the lens is called optical center. So while drawing the ray diagram, be careful, take the accurate measurements. You will get the exact position of the image. Okay, it is refracted ray for the ray which is passing through the optical center. Where its image is formed? Its image is formed at 2F again. Already we discussed that. Here the head of the image is inverted. Here head of the object is upside, but here head of the image is downside. Now it is a real line inverted image, because we can obtain this image on the screen. Now let us take it is A dash and it is B dash. So A dash is the head of the image and B dash is the base of the image. Here A is the head of the object and B is the base of the object. Now we are going to derive the relation between focal length, object distance and image distance. What is object distance now? Object distance is that it is the distance between object and optical center. We are going to measure the distances from optical center, but in case of a spherical mirror, we are going to measure the distances from pole. But here, in case of lens, we are going to measure the distances from optical center. Here, this distance is measured in which direction? Negative direction. Okay, that is why object distance is taken as negative. And what about image distance? Distance of the image from the optical center, that is called image distance. Then what about focal length here? Focal length is that it is the distance between focus and optical center. So at what position you have to take the focus here? At what position the refracted ray will be meet? That is taken as principal focus. And the distance of the principal focus from the optical center is called focal length. We are going to derive the relation between U, V and F. How to derive it? So consider a convex lens. Consider a convex lens of focal length F. For the given lens, focal length is constant. Consider a convex lens of focal length F. Okay. So where is the object now? Object is at 2F. Its image will be formed at 2F only, but on the other side. On the other side of the lens. Now we are going to consider singular triangles. What are those singular triangles? A, O, B and A dash, O, B dash, because the angles separated by A, O, B and A dash, O, B dash both are same here. That is why they are called singular triangles. From the singular triangles, what are those? A, O, B. AOB and A dash O B dash. Why we are going to choose these two similar triangles here? Because in this triangle we will get the object distance, but in this triangle we will get the image distance. That is why we are going to choose those two triangles. Now by taking the ratio concept, so if the triangles are similar, we are going to take vertical side ratio equal to horizontal side ratio. What is the vertical side in the image triangle and what is the vertical side in the object triangle? Which is object triangle here? AOB is the object triangle because AB is the object here. And which is image triangle here? A dash B dash O is the image triangle because A dash B dash is the image of the object. Now vertical side of the image triangle, that is A dash B dash, divided by vertical side of the object triangle, that is AB. AB, that is equal to horizontal side of the image triangle from the O. What is that? OB dash. OB dash divided by horizontal side of the object triangle. What is the horizontal side of the object triangle here? That is OB. OB dash divided by OB. I will take it as equation 1. Then by using these two we will get the B and U. But we need F also. Again we have to choose similar triangles. What are those similar triangles? M, F, O and A dash, F, B dash. Both are similar triangles. Again from the similar triangles. Again from the similar triangles. Again from the similar triangles. What are those? M, F, O. M, F, O and A dash, F, B dash. A dash, F, B dash. See here, what are those similar triangles? M, F, O and A dash, F, B dash. Both are similar triangles because angles subtended by both are equal. Then they are similar triangles. Again by taking the vertical side ratio equal to the horizontal side ratio. Then what is the vertical side ratio here in the image triangle? That is A dash, B dash. But here, what is the vertical side in MFO? That is MO. That is equal to then horizontal side ratio. What about horizontal side in case of A dash, F, B dash? That is FB dash. FB dash divided by. So what is the horizontal side in case of triangle MFO? That is OF. That is OF. Okay. So MO is equal to AB. See, this MO is equal to AB because in rectangle opposite sides are equal. Since MO is equal to AB, this equation can be written as, since MO is equal to AB, then the MO equation can be written as A dash B dash divided by AB. That is equal to FB dash divided by OF. I will call this as equation number 2. So, what is OF here? OF is nothing but focal length. Now, from the equations 1 and 2, we concluded that left hand sides are equal, then right hand side must be equal. On comparing the equations 1 and 2. On comparing equations 1 and 2. Equations 1 and 2. Then what we get? So right hand side of the equation 1, that is OB dash divided by OB is equal to right hand side of the equation 2, that is FP dash divided by OF. FP dash divided by OF. Next. What about OB dash? OB dash is nothing but image distance. What about OB? OB is nothing but object distance. What about OF? OF is nothing but focal length. But what about FP dash? We don't know, that we have to find. FP dash is nothing but OB dash minus of OF. OB dash minus OF gives FP dash. OB dash divided by OB is equal to, what about FB dash here? OB dash minus OF. OB dash minus OF, it is OF. Then using sign convention, because all are known, OB dash is known, that is image distance, OB is known, that is object distance, again OB dash is image distance, OF is nothing but focal length. Then using sign convention, OB dash is, or OB, first I will take OB. So OB is at the which side? It is at the negative side, means it is at the left side. Left side means we have to take it as a negative, because we are going to measure the distance from optical center. If the distance is measured in the opposite direction of incident light, they are taken as a negative. That is why OB is taken as minus U. Then what about OB dash? If the distances are measured in the direction of incident light, so incident light is in which direction? Incident light is in positive direction. Then the image distance is also positive direction, because we are going to measure the image distance from optical center to the image. That is why it can be taken as plus B. And what about OF? OF is nothing but it is a plus, because the distance measured from the optical center to the focus in the direction of incident light. If the distances are measured in the direction of incident light, taken as positive. If the distances are measured in the opposite direction of incident light, taken as negative. But one condition, always we have to measure the distance from optical center. Then by putting these in this equation, I will take it as equation 3. Equation 3 becomes, what about equation 3 now? So OB dash is nothing but here V, then OB is nothing but here minus U, that is equal to, again OB dash is plus V, and OF is F, minus into plus minus, that is minus F divided by F. Then on solving this one, I will take F to the left hand side, minus U to the right hand side, and multiply. What happens now? That is V into F is equal to, I will take F to the left hand side, that is V into F. I will take minus U to the right hand side, minus U into V minus UV. Then minus U into minus F, that is plus UV. Then dividing each term by U into V into F, as it is in case of mirror equation. Dividing each term by U into V into F, we will get the relation between F, U and V. Dividing each term by. Dividing each term by U into V into F. What we will get? That is from this equation. Then V into F divided by UVF. V into F divided by UVF is equal to minus U into V divided by UVF. Then plus U into F divided by UVF. Now here what get cancelled? VF get cancelled. Here what get cancelled? UV get cancelled. Here what get cancelled? UF get cancelled. Here what left now? Here 1 by U left. That is 1 by U is equal to, here what left now? UV get cancelled means minus 1 by F left now. Then plus, here UF get cancelled, here 1 by B left now. But what we required now? I will take minus 1 by F to the left hand side and 1 by U to the right hand side. Minus 1 by F becomes plus 1 by F is equal to 1 by B. Already 1 by B is positive now, plus 1 by B. I will take 1 by U to the right hand side, then it becomes minus 1 by B. So it is the lens formula. Okay. So by using this lens formula, we are going to derive the lens maker's formula. And what is V here? V is image distance, U is object distance, and F is focal length. But in case of mirror equation, it is 1 by V plus 1 by U. But in case of lens formula, it is 1 by F is equal to 1 by V minus 1 by U. Don't confuse with mirror equation and lens formula. In case of mirror equation, 1 by F is equal to 1 by V plus 1 by U. But in case of lens formula, 1 by F is equal to 1 by V minus 1 by U. Okay. So this is about the lens formula. By using this lens formula, we are going to find the image distance, object distance, and even focal length also. Previously we derived lens formula. What is that? 1 by F equal to 1 by V minus 1 by U. It is valid for both lenses, convex lens and concave lens. So we are going to use the same formula for both lenses, convex lens and concave lens, as it is in case of curved mirrors, concave mirror and convex mirror. We are going to use the same mirror equation. Now we are going to derive the lens maker's formula. That is very important for your theoretical part. Lens maker's formula. Means the focal length of a lens depends on what factors we are going to derive that. Lens maker's formula. So in case of formation of image by the lens, the incident ray refracted at first surface and second surface respectively. But the image formed by the first surface acts as object for the second surface. Now let us discuss about that one. Now let us consider a convex lens. It is a convex lens. Two plano-convex lenses are joined together to form the biconvex lens. Next, principal axis, optical center. Then let us consider there is an object. This object is placed on the principal axis. Otherwise, I will take this optical center as C, and I will take this object as O. Okay. Then now the first incident ray. The first incident ray is along the principal axis. It passes without any deviation because the ray incident along the normal, because principal axis is perpendicular to the refracting surface, means lens. If the ray incident along the normal, it passes without deviation, because if angle of incidence 0, angle of refraction is also 0, then here Snell's law is not valid along the principal axis. Next, one more ray, that is incident obliquely, and it undergo refraction. It undergo refraction, and this refracted ray falls on the second surface. Okay, this refracted ray is incident ray for the second surface. This is the incident ray for the first surface. The refracted ray by the ray refracted by the first surface acts as incident ray for the second surface. Once again, the light traveling from which to which? That is from lens to air. Here the image is formed. That final image can be taken as R. So let us assume the second surface is absent. If second surface is absent, where will be this refracted ray meet? This refracted ray will be meet at the position, that is, I will take I1. Now this I1 we are going to observe through the second surface. For the second surface, I1 acts as the object. Okay. What is the distance of the object from the optical center? That is U. That is U. And what is the distance of the image formed by the first surface in the absence of second surface? At what distance? That is V1. I will take that is V1. Then the final image formed by the both surfaces here, at what position? So the final image is formed at I due to the refraction at first surface and second surface. And what is the distance of the final image here? That is V. And I will take the refractive index of surrounding medium is N1. The refractive index of the lens is N2. What is the refractive index of surrounding medium? N1. And refractive index of length is n2. Then radius of curvature of first surface is r1 and radius of curvature of second surface is r2. Okay, so we are going to derive the relation between radii of curvature, focal length and refractive indices of both media. Now consider an object lying on the principal axis. Then this incident ray is refracted by first surface and also second surface respectively. Then the final image is formed at what position? The final image is formed at R. Then now let us consider if refraction at first surface. I will take refraction at first surface. Refraction at first surface. When the incident ray is refracted by first surface. Refracted by first surface. Which is first surface here? This is the first surface. I will take it is first surface and it is second surface. First surface. The image is formed at I1. The image is formed at I1. Then by using the spherical surface relation. What is spherical surface relation? That is N2 by V minus N1 by U, that is equal to N2 minus of N1 by R. Okay. So using spherical surface relation. Using spherical surface relation. So we are going to discuss about the refraction at first surface. Let us assume second surface is absent. Let us draw the diagram for this one. It is a first surface. So let us assume second surface is absent. Now there is an object. This object is lying on the principal axis. Then first I will take center of curvature of the first surface is C1 and the ray incident on this surface obliquely. I will draw the normal from center of curvature to the point of incidence. Okay. So the light ray traveling from which medium to which medium? That is from air medium to lens. So lens is a denser now. The refracted ray bends towards the normal. So where its image will be formed? Its image will be formed at I1. Now what is the distance of the object now? As it is U. And what about distance of the image formed by the first surface? That is I will take V1. And radius of the first surface, that is R1. It is R1. Then by using spherical surface relation for this diagram. What about spherical surface relation? Already we know that refractive index of image space divided by image distance minus refractive index of object space divided by object distance is equal to the differences in refractive indices of both media divided by radius of curvature. Using that equation. So what is the refractive index of image space here? That is N2. And what is the refractive index of object space here? That is N1. Use the relation. So N2 by image distance for the first surface, that is V1. N2 by V1 minus then refractive index of object space for the first surface, that is N1. N1. What is object distance here? U. That is equal to N2 minus of N1. Refractive index of image space minus refractive index of object space divided by radius of curvature of the first surface, that is R1. Okay, I will call this is equation number 1. Next we are going to discuss about the refraction at second surface. Refraction at second surface. How many times the refraction takes place here? 2 times. First refraction by first surface, second refraction by second surface. Now, the image formed by the first surface acts as object for the second surface. I1 acts as object for second surface, because once again we are going to observe this image for the second surface. For the second surface, this I1 acts as object. I1 acts as object for second surface, and hence final image is formed at I. Hence final image is formed at I. Is formed at I. Now let us draw the diagram. It is second surface. Then where is the object now? I1 is inside the lens now. We are going to observe this I1 to the second surface. Now this refracted ray is incident ray for the second surface. So this refracted ray is incident ray for the second surface. The ray refracted by the first surface is falls on the second surface. I will draw the second surface here. Then this refracted ray is incident ray for the second surface. Then the light traveling from which medium to which medium? That is from denser medium to rarer medium. Center of curvature of the second surface I will take C2, and the normal drawn from center of curvature to the point of incidence. Okay. Then the light traveling from this refracted ray is incident ray for the second surface. It is traveling from denser medium to rarer medium, means lens to the air. Then it bends away from the norm. Then where the final image is formed? Final image is formed at I. If there is no second surface, where its image will be formed? Its image will be formed at I1. But this I1 acts as object for the second surface. Then where is the I1? I1 is inside the lens. Where is the I? That is inside the rarer medium. Then distance of the final image from the second surface, that is V. Okay, and distance of the I1 from the surface here, that is V1. That is V1. And what is the radius of curvature of the second surface? That is R2. That is R2. Okay. Now we are going to apply the spherical surface relation to the second surface. Then it is the refractive index of the lens L2, and it is the refractive index of the rarer medium L1. Then using spherical surface relation, that is refractive index of image space divided by image distance. Where the final image is formed? For the I1, I is the image. Where the final image is formed? Inside the rarer medium. What is the refractive index of image space here? Now here image space is rarer medium. Refractive index of image space is N1 divided by image distance, that is B. N1 by B minus refractive index of object space. Where is this I1? I1 is the object for the second surface. Where is the I1 now? I1 inside the lens now. So what is the refractive index of lens? That is N2. Now refractive index of object space is N2 divided by object distance is V1. That is equal to refractive index of image space minus refractive index of object space. Which is image space here? For the second surface, rarer medium is the image space. What is the refractive index of rarer medium? That is M1 minus refractive index of object space. For the second surface, which is object space, that is N2. Then refractive index of object space, that is N2 divided by the radius of curvature of the second surface, that is R2. Then I will take here minus S common, that is minus of N2 minus M1. divided by R2. I will call this equation number 2. Then it is N1 by V minus N2 by V1. Adding equations 1 and 2, we will get the focal length of the lens. Adding equations 1 and 2. Adding equations 1 and 2. What about equation 1? Left hand side of the equation 1 plus left hand side of the equation 2. What is the left hand side of equation 1? That is N2 by V1 minus N1 by U plus left hand side of equation 2 N1 by V minus N2 by V1. Then that is equal to right hand side of equation 1, that is N2 minus of N1 divided by R1 plus what about right hand side of equation 2, that is minus of N2 minus N1 divided by R2. So plus into minus. It is N2 minus N1 divided by R1 minus of N2 minus N1 divided by R2. What is common here? Common is nothing but N2 minus of N1 is common. N2 minus N1 is common into bracket 1 by R1 minus 1 by R2. Then here left hand side, what get cancelled? Let us check this one. First term and last term get cancelled. Then what about this one? N1 by V. I will write our positive term first. N1 by V minus N1 by U. So what is common here? N1 is the common. We will take N1 as common. 1 by V minus 1 by U. That is equal to N2 minus of N1 into 1 by R1 minus 1 by R2. Okay. Next, I will take this N1 to the right hand side. 1 by V minus 1 by V. N2 minus N1 divided by N1. Because I will take N1 to the right hand side means that will be divided. Because here it is in numerator. Whenever we are going to take this one to this side, it is in denominator. Then it is 1 by R1 minus 1 by R2. Then what about 1 by V minus 1 by U? That is length formula. That is 1 by F. 1 by F is equal to, then I will divide N1 separately to N2 and N1. That is N2 by N1 minus of 1. Because N1 by N1 is how much? 1. That is 1 by R1 minus 1 by R2. Then what is N2 by N1? N2 by N1 is nothing but it is the relative refractive index. Means the refractive index of second medium with respect to first medium. We can write this equation as 1 by F is equal to N2 1 minus of 1 into 1 by R1 minus 1 by R2. This is called Lenz-Nichols problem. And this is very important for your theory exam. So